Well, good morning. My name's Tom. I come to you from the Rustic log cabin in northern Maine. Welcome to my cabin this morning. I'm getting ready to have breakfast and get my day started. About 7 o'clock right now. Snowed a little bit last night. Not much, just enough to leave a dusting on everything. Getting ready to have breakfast, so if you want to join me for breakfast, I've got a crackling hot fire going over there in the wood stove. Cabin's still not quite warmed up. I got up this morning and it was 32 degrees in here. So I don't keep a fire at night. I don't like heat at night. Not a lot of it anyways. I'm having oatmeal and apples and prunes for breakfast this morning. That's how I like my oatmeal. If you haven't had oatmeal with a half a dozen prunes in it and a chopped up, it's a Granny Smith apple, not a sweet apple. A Granny Smith apple is a little bit on the tart side, but I like it that way. In the winter time, most of my breakfasts are oatmeal and stuff like that. Always has been. So. But today, I'm here at the cabin. As soon as I get this breakfast eaten, and probably one more cup of coffee. So if you haven't poured a cup of coffee, you probably ought to pour yourself a cup of coffee. I've got a story this morning I want to tell. Another one of my hunting stories from younger days. I figured I would tell it this morning over breakfast and a cup of coffee. I started to say what I got to do is I've got a tractor tire in the back of my truck that I'm going to have to get up. The truck hasn't made it into the cabin yet. I had 4 trees that came down across the road to get in here, so I got to move those trees, and then I'm going to get the snowmobile out and go down and pick up the tractor tire and haul that up over the hill and get that mounted on the tractor today. So I'm really not in a big rush to get my day going. None of that sounds like a whole lot of fun. So good cup of coffee. See that? Oatmeal. And whole milk. I don't drink that 2% milk. Doesn't seem like milk to me. But I wanted to tell you about my Uncle Willard. Now Uncle Willard, he's passed away now many years ago. Probably 25 years ago. But Uncle Willard was a short guy, probably about my height, and had a lot of hair, but it was white as snow. And I don't know exactly how old he was when he passed away, but probably the last time I hunted with him, I want to say 75, maybe close to 80. I'm not sure. I was young, so, very young actually. So I really didn't put a whole lot of stock into age back then. But Uncle Willard, he couldn't, and another thing about Uncle Willard, and I really didn't find this out until I was an adult. In Maine, things everybody's family. It's just the way it is. And Uncle Willard really wasn't Uncle. It's just everybody called him Uncle Willard. So growing up, I called him Uncle Willard. We still call him Uncle Willard. Everybody does. And I figured out as I was an adult that he really wasn't family. I mean, blood family. But that doesn't matter here in the state of Maine. So we went on a bird hunting trip up to Greenville, backside of Moosehead Lake. Moosehead Lake is the largest lake in the state of Maine. And Uncle Willard was deaf. He couldn't hear anything without his hearing aids. Nothing at all. Now, to speak, I'm not saying he couldn't hear nothing, but he couldn't hear. That's for darn sure. And we were camped on the backside of Moosehead Lake. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, the coyotes was everywhere. You could hear them howling in the distance. I mean, they weren't close. If you listen to Uncle Willard, they were close. But anyway, he couldn't hear them because he was asleep and he didn't have his hearing aids in. Well, yeah, a little bit of backstory. Uncle Willard, he trapped a lot of coyotes, I guess, when he was younger, and they kind of scared the dickens out of him. So when he was, like I said, 75, 80 years old, he was really quite petrified of the coyotes. And so we woke him up, and we knew that when we woke him up. We woke him up and said, Uncle Willard, put your hearing aids in. And he puts his hearing aids in. He says, and we said to him, can you hear them coyotes? Well, once his hearing aids was in, he really could hear the coyotes. He never went back to bed that night at all. He sat up and listened to them coyotes, and if you hear him tell the story, they was at the front door digging to get in. But that was, I don't know, maybe it was funny because we was there, but it was pretty funny to us anyways. And the funny part was he just didn't go back to bed. He sat up all night listening to them coyotes. And on that same trip, we drove in at about, it was after dark, so who knows what time it was. It gets dark up here early in the fall. And we drove in at, we kept seeing Partridge flying across the road. They would see our headlights and head across the road. But anyways, we didn't see any. We hunted the next day, and Uncle Willard, he was bound and determined that the partridge had migrated across Moosehead Lake. Moosehead Lake is about 40 miles long, and I don't know, in some areas it's quite wide, so I want to say 4, 5, 6 miles across, maybe wider than that. But I do know that it's 40 miles long. It goes from downtown Greenville, if we can call that downtown. Greenville's just a small town. If you're ever in the state, great place to visit. You would love Moosehead Lake. And then it goes all the way up to what's called Northeast Cary. And back in the day, they used to pull, there's a big ship in town. I think it's called the Katahdin. And they would pull down big rafts of logs, big rafts of logs. I remember seeing it as a young teenager, one of the last few log trips that came down the rivers and stuff like that. Quite impressive to watch. But anyway, getting back to my story. Willard, he swore right up and down that them partridge had migrated to the other side of Moosehead Lake. Well, if you know anything about bird hunting, birds don't migrate. Partridge don't migrate. But he persisted so much that we hunted, I don't know, a couple days on one side of Moosehead. Then on Sunday, when you couldn't hunt anyways, because we can't hunt here in the state of Maine, on Sunday, Willard had put up such a stink for at least a couple of days about how the birds had migrated, and that's why we weren't getting any, that we migrated also. We migrated around Moosehead Lake, and then we hunted the other side of Moosehead Lake, just to kind of shut Uncle Willard up. But, the bird hunting on the other side of the lake was exactly the same. We didn't get many birds over there either that trip. So kinda not really a migration of partridge, I guess. But that's my story about Uncle Willard. But he used to live in a really small house. Really small. But he went for quite a few trips with us over the years. I've hunted with him several times. Nice thing about oatmeal, you don't have to chew it. Get that tire in here before we get any more snow. Because once that snow gets deeper, this job's going to get tougher and tougher. I need to get that tire in here today. I need to fill up my wood box because they say it's going to be extremely cold tonight. So if that's the case, I'm going to want this cabin piping hot. Right now, what are we about? We're about 3 days away from Christmas. Today's Tuesday. We got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, I'm here until Thursday anyways. I called my wife last night and told her, I said, I think I'm just going to come home Christmas morning. Well, I'm going to tell you a little secret. I can get away with Thanksgiving dinner up here. I can come up here Thanksgiving, that's not a big deal. But let me tell you, trying to pull off for Christmas, that's never gonna happen. And I wouldn't want it to. I love to have Christmas Day with the family. We have a good time. We have 3 grandsons now, and Christmas morning is a really good time. One of them is Caleb. He's Papa's got to be here for Christmas. So. Yeah, my wife, she was not going to let me spend Christmas up here. Thanksgiving, I get away with it because she wants me to put a deer in the freezer as well. Deer season up here is too dang short. Well, if you liked having coffee with me this morning, subscribe to the channel. I do stuff like this quite often. The channel is all about the cabin life here, what it takes to own a cabin and operate a cabin, and just the cabin chores. And I've said it in many videos prior, there's 150 square miles of hunting ground around this cabin that I have access to. That none of it's, I mean, there's some posted stuff now, but it's mainly you know, camp areas that are posted. Most of it is that I hunt on is paper company land, so that's wide open for us to hunt on. And it's just, so if you enjoy this, come on, click the subscribe button. Definitely give me a thumbs up. I'm really trying to get one of these videos to hit 100 likes. I was checking last night. I guess the closest I've gotten is 75. So if you guys wouldn't mind, hit the like button. I would love to see one of them go over 100. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is there's certain benchmarks in YouTube, and I would like to see what happens when you hit 100 likes. Every time I hit some benchmark, I end up with a few more things that I can do with YouTube. So, you know, like now we can do live stream and stuff like that right here from the cabin. So I would like to see the likes hit 100 and just see what happens. And once I figure that out, I'll let you guys know what happens too. So, you have a good day, and I will see you in the next one.